Hello and welcome to Tech It Up Middle East Live at GITEX Global 2025, Middle East Africa's biggest technology exhibition. As you can see, we are at Sophos' booth and we are with Gopan Sivasankaran, who is the Sales Director for Sophos Middle East. Let's talk to Gopan and understand what Sophos is up to at GITEX this year. Gopan, glad to meet you and thank you for this lovely setup.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you. Please start by telling us about your main highlights of this GITEX.
So this GITEX is very important for us in two different aspects, right? So one, there was a big acquisition. So Sophos acquired Secureworks early this year, and I come from the Secureworks side of the business. This is the first employee of Secureworks in the region for the last 12 years. I've been with the organization. So that is a big shift what we did, which is more like a enterprise. How can we get into enterprises in the region? So Sophos is predominantly seen as a mid-market organization, but with Secureworks acquisition, that's a massive thing. Second announcement is the local UAE instance. So we have announced a UAE instance, which is very important for us to comply to certain local regulations. So that I personally believe that is a massive service to the industry, which we're going to do, especially in the public sector and healthcare sector. So this GITEX, we got a big portfolio which we are showcasing with on the Secureworks side of things. You are talking about your MDR services, your ITDR, all of that, and with a local instance also announced. So I believe the future looks super bright.
Great, thank you so much, and we wish you all the best for that.
Thank you.
Well, please tell us about the Sophos Tejas integration that across the Sophos ecosystem. How is it enhancing defense against the increasingly sophisticated threats, the AI-driven threats that we are seeing now?
Yeah, so I'll cut that into two pieces, right? So first is the Sophos Tejas integration. That's again massive, right? So within Secureworks, we had a Tejas as a platform which had the ability to ingest logs from endpoint, network, cloud, all of that to one big data lake. One area which was missing in that particular ecosystem was the preventive control. Okay. So now what we've done is we have integrated the Sophos endpoint agent, which has been a leader for the last 15 years in the EPP/EDR segment. We are including Sophos agent as part of our overall managed XDR offering for all our customers. Now that puts a tick in the box on the preventive control, not just any other preventive control, but one of the leaders in preventive control with hundreds of thousands of customers in that space. Now that integration is complete now, which we are making sure that all the customers will benefit from Sophos agent. Having said that, we still continue to remain as an open XDR. So what that means is, if a customer is, if an organization want to continue using their Microsoft Defender or a CrowdStrike or a SentinelOne, we are not stopping them. They could still use that. We could still deliver the same service with exactly the same SLAs at no difference. So coming to the second part of your question, which is the modern threats, I'm a big believer that you need to get your fundamentals right. Correct. Right? So you are. We still see most of the breaches happening. We were just doing a incident response engagement last 10 days ago in Dubai, a big one, where some of these fundamentals are still missing with lots of organizations. What I mean by fundamentals is getting your patches right, your vulnerability management sorted, you are making sure that your segmentation is done properly, your multi-factor authentication is done, number of these things, right? So that part is still missing, and then obviously getting to the advanced threats would be an initial part of that.
Okay, well, something interesting that you mentioned here. Obviously, I do not want you to mention the name of the company that you were solving this issue for. But could you give us like a brief? Was it a large enterprise? How many users? And how some companies like that can avoid falling into this trap?
Yeah, for sure, Chris. So in the recent, I don't want to take specific examples, but in the recent, maybe if you take 3 to 4 months, we have seen serious uptick in the healthcare industry being breached in the region, especially in Dubai. Some of them are obviously in the newspapers as well. I don't want to take names in the interviews, but I personally was a customer of that particular hospital, and my data was gone. I know that personally, right? So the healthcare industry, there is a serious attack on that, which is very sensitive data. We're talking about patient records and all of that. There are retail chains, supermarket chains and people like that getting attacked big time, right? So we, even before Sophos acquisition, Secureworks acquisition, we were part of, I personally have been part of many of the incident response engagements in the region, but after Sophos acquisition as well, continuously this happens. So we do probably almost 1,500 incident response engagements every year.
Every year, okay.
Which is quite a significant number. So.
Thank you so much for that information as well. Also, when we talk about your entire product life cycle in an end-to-end security approach, you have a comprehensive product strategy now. Could you please talk about the entire portfolio, which becomes one after Secureworks and so forth?
Sure. So Chris, first of all, one of the things which I'm very excited about this acquisition is the preventive control that come into the play. So we were always on a detect and respond kind of thing. Now we can look at this from all quadrants of this area. If you look at any framework, NIST for example, if you talk from an identification of a threat, or you can call it as assess, you can call it as predict, whatever, depending on which framework you're using. And then you talk about prevent, then you talk about detect, then you talk about respond, then you talk about recover. Okay. And then in the middle you can see govern, right? So that is a whole framework you look at. We can operate, when I say we as Sophos, we can operate in all segments of this overall life cycle, right from an identification of a threat, whether it is your threat intelligence to predict something, to preventive controls. Like your Sophos is very well known for your firewalls, right? So your firewalls, your email security solutions, your endpoint protection controls, and then detect obviously is your managed detection response, your EDR and all of that. Respond is your incident response engagements, and even help from a recovery perspective. And then overall a governance module around that too, which will control the whole thing. So I think when you look at a big picture, whichever framework you take, I took NIST as an example, but this could be any of these frameworks, right? You have a comprehensive view on how you look at this thing, and Sophos got a pretty rich portfolio which can address most of the challenges in all these individual buckets.
Great, thank you so much. And well, last question, some tips for the security leaders in the region to stay ahead of the modern threats.
See, I personally would say being a CISO is one of the toughest jobs out there.
I'm sure.
Because you need to be business aware, where you need to educate your board on how risk aware you are, so which is very important. So we do things like tabletop exercise, for example. I want to take one small example here. So one of the question which I generally ask people is that if you are hit by a ransomware attack today, would you pay or not pay?
Correct.
Do you know the answer? Now, there is no right or wrong answer to this question, right? Because, but you need to have an answer. And you cannot find that answer when you are in the middle of a breach. You need to find the answer before you are breached, right? So when you have a clear head to think about it, right? So I would say stick to fundamentals. I keep insisting on this. I've been talking about this for last over a decade or so. Make sure that your vulnerability management is sorted. Make sure that your network segmentation is sorted. Make sure that your overall hygiene. You build a culture within your organization about cybersecurity aware, right from an employee joining and till the board, right? So you as a CISO should have an ability to educate your board about what is happening around this, and then make sure that you have a risk appetite. You understand what is your risk appetite as an organization and have those answers done. So I think overall cybersecurity, making sure that everybody is aware of this and building the culture within the organization with some right controls in place, that is the best thing. So, say one last tip before we conclude this. In a philosophy of threat detection, we say that you cannot prevent everything. You say that prevent what you can, and you detect what you cannot prevent, and you hunt what you cannot detect. So you kind of go through a full life cycle like that.
Great, thank you so much. It was an absolute pleasure talking to you, Gopan.
It was my pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching. So we had a conversation with Gopan Sivasankaran. You saw he mentioned, do not overcomplicate your cybersecurity strategy. Keep it simple, stick to the fundamentals. Thank you for watching, and you take care of yourself, and do not forget to tech it up.